Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing a book called Disrupt by Luke Williams. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. So the first thing that the book really talks about is the concept of inverting the cliches. So think about a restaurant industry. The most common cliches are that, you have to go in, you have to talk to the server, you have to look at the menu, you order food, you pay for it, and then you leave. So one restaurant, they decided to completely invert all of those cliches. The restaurant is called Al Bulli, and what they have done is basically, in order to go to this restaurant, you have to buy the ticket ahead of time, and then you're actually going to spend 5 hours in the restaurant, and in those 5 hours, you would get to try 30 different meals. So that's a great example of inverting a cliche and turning it into a highly successful business. Right now, this restaurant has bookings made for years ahead of time, which makes it a very great concept. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the concept of, not just looking at problems that need fixing. Sometimes a great disruption might come from something that is not very obvious, that does not really need fixing, but that people gotten so used to doing. For example, a can of paint. So when you buy a can of paint, we need to usually use a screwdriver just to open it, just to open the container. So one Dutch company, what they came up with is they put a plastic lid on top of the can of paint, and that allowed people to open pans of cans much easier, and they made a lot of money off of doing that. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is to always pay attention to how the people do things. So some of you may be familiar with the concept of a Swiffer. It's basically a dry mop, one of the most popular cleaning products on the market at the moment. So the way Procter & Gamble, which is the company that brought the Swiffer to the market, the way they came up with it is they sent people to watch how people clean their homes. And then what they realized is people use too much water to clean the floors. And using too much water, what that did is it would just take the dirt and it would just slop it around. So you wouldn't actually clean the floor that well. So that's how they came up with the concept of a dry mop, which would actually pick up the dirt and clean the floors much better. And the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you about is making connections between the things that might not seem very, very intuitive at first. So a great example of that the book talks about is the Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo Switch is basically when you can use your hand gestures to control something on a screen using a remote. So the way Nintendo came up with that is actually by looking at airbags. And a lot of people might think, what do airbags have to do with Nintendo Switch? Well, basically the way airbag is activated is there's a switch which reacts to a very quick motion of something going really fast. And that's what Nintendo engineers realized. They decided to put that motion, that sensor that detects that motion in the airbags, to put it into the Nintendo Switch, into this controller, which allowed people to move the joystick, and the character on the screen would be able to move at the same time. So those are the few key points that I found really interesting in this book. Highly recommend it. Luke Williams is a great author. He writes really, really well, and it was definitely a really interesting book. So thank you for your time. Have a great day.